status is right here from over there by the continent of Asia. So this is to show you the African gene or the mitochondrial Eve gene existing without Neanderthal influence all around the world up until 6,000 years ago. Now, why is this important? All non-Africans are part Neanderthal. Genetics confirmed. This ain't no motherfucking theory, no speculation. This is confirmed by genetics. If your heritage is not African, you are part Neanderthal according to a new genetic study. This is posted, post date was July 18th, 2011 in the July issue of Molecular Biology and Evolution. So this is not up for debate. So we're talking about extraterrestrial genes. We are the extraterrestrials. We have the genetic composition created from the cosmos. Everybody else is hybrid and is tainting the bloodline of African people. Now let me keep this pushing. Genetic origins of non-African descendants, okay? What is a hybrid? In biology, a hybrid is the offspring of two plants or animals of different species or varieties, such as a mule, right? A hybrid of a donkey or a horse. Now I want y'all to keep a mule in y'all mind because I'm going to use the example in a minute, right? Definition number 2, a thing made combining two different elements in the mix, right? Now why is this important? Because they will tell you that this nigga comes from us. That's what they say. They say, oh, we evolved and blah, 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 and people is, what they tell you is black people went up into the cold, okay? And then somewhere it got so goddamn cold that a nigga lost his melanin and turned white. But what they don't tell you is, even if you go into the cold, that bullshit, stupid ass point, what that got to do with a calcified pineal gland? What do that got to do with the A and B blood types, which is really antigens? The antigen is a toxin or foreign substance introduced into the body that invokes a response to the immune system. How did we get antigens in the blood? How did we get calcified pineal glands? How did our hair no longer become flocculous and become animal-based follicles to where we can get lice? So that being said, how did our entire biology change? Because we went somewhere where it was goddamn cold. How did we become Neanderthals by being in a cold where there ain't no Neanderthals? Neanderthals is monkeys and primates. I don't know no goddamn monkeys that live in goddamn Alaska. I don't know it. It might be. I've never heard of them. So with that being said, I don't know any monkeys that live up here in the goddamn on Mount Everest.
You're gonna call and be on the show, say
something. Go to Mount Everest and pick up. That's like saying you went to Alaska and picked up anaconda.
Ain't no goddamn
reptiles in the wintertime on this planet. So with that being said, the evolution theory is highly incomplete. Now, when they say first I'm gonna read the article, right? National Geographic proves teaching on Mr. Yakub. Okay? Now watch this. The prestigious National Geographic Society has reported that scientists studying DNA have now confirmed that Europeans as a people are younger than we thought.
Doomsday.
Using the unbiased measure of genetic
science,
all
the money away.
They point to the same birth date for the European as did the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Professor Alan Cooper, director of the Australian Center for Ancient DNA and Research at the University of Adelaide, analyzing DNA from ancient skeletons and found that the genetic makeup of modern Europe was established just 6,500 years ago at most. So Europeans are only 6,000 years old, period. Now, when they say Europeans come from melanated people, this is who they're talking about. But he is not us. See? He's not of African descent. The African is the bloodline is royal because it's non-Neanderthal. Now, this is a Dravidian. So this is one of them niggas that you see over there in India acting like he us, but he really not us. So when they say white people come from melanated people or black people, they're not talking about us. They ain't got, listen, Chinese people, Korean people, white people, all non-African people ain't got shit to do with our genetic lineage. We are in a whole nother bracket genetically and biologically. So let me tell y'all how the European was created. Okay? Or all non-Africans was created. Specifically, we're going to start with little Cody right here. Cody comes from him. This is a Dravidian. This is an albino Dravidian. So him is him, okay, in an albino state. And this is Neanderthal, okay? And then through genetic engineering processes and other processes that I explain step by step in my genetic engineering lecture, so I'm not going to do it over now, you get him. So long story short, assuming that you watched my genetic reincarnation lecture, you know what I'm talking about. So assuming that you watched it, Cody comes from him. Cody ain't got shit to do with us. Cody ain't got nothing to do with us, okay? So get that in y'all head. We didn't evolve from these motherfuckers. We didn't do nothing. If the evolution theory not true, but even if it was true, it ain't got nothing to do with black people. It ain't got nothing to do with us. So what y'all gotta understand is this is Cody's ancestry, okay? And this is why they say only if you're not of African descent, you're not a human being, because everybody comes from Neanderthal genetic installments. They're not purebred genetic organisms like us. This is why we're deemed extraterrestrials and we have the world bloodline, because our genes are, for one, not even from this planet, and for two, our DNA comes straight from the cosmos. It's organic. We don't have any Neanderthal traces and shit like that in us. Now, with that being said, genetic origins of non-African descendants, part 3. Now we want to talk about where Spanish people and Chinese people come from. When you take a Mongoloid, right? A Mongoloid is like a Genghis Khan looking person. A Mongol. So these would be like Chinese people, Asian people, who are also Neanderthal, right? When Mongoloid people and Chinese people, because we're talking about where does Hispanic culture come from, okay? When Mongoloid people and Chinese people started coming over here, along with Christopher Columbus and all that, what y'all gotta remember is Italians were walking the planet. Now Italians are basically like mulattoes. Long story short, Hannibal went over there to Italy, conquered, did what he did. They interbred with the European women over there, or with the Caucasian women over there. Okay, the Caucasian women were mulattoes, and then once the mulattoes actually started to go back to the Caucasian-based genetic organisms sexually reproduced, they became what you call Italian. This is why Italians have a natural tan. The average Caucasian doesn't have a natural tan. When you watch Jersey Shore and you see the Italians on there, they look more peachy as opposed to pale. That's because they have a small concentration of melanin, just like Chinese people. This is why they call Chinese people the yellow man. Okay, they don't call him the white man. They call him the yellow man because he has a small concentration of melanin that's at a higher content than the Caucasian. A Caucasian. The word cauk comes from caucus, dead corpse. Asian. A Caucasian is a genetically dead Asian. So he is him genetically dead. Okay, now let me show you where Mexicans and everybody and Hispanic people come from. And like I said, this is not about racism. This is about education, because everybody needs to know the truth so that, the world can go the way it's supposed to go. Now, with that being said, you have Mongoloid entities, right? When these Mongoloid entities, being Chinamen, Korean men, they all in the same family. Mongoloids. When these Mongoloids brought their ass over here, okay, and they started sexually reproducing with Italians and mulattoes, okay, and descendants of whatchamacallit, I done went too far, and they started reproducing with aboriginals, okay, or black people that was already over here. They created Mexicans and Hispanic people. So this is why Mexican people don't like getting called this is why Mexicans don't like being called a spick. Or Hispanic people, they feel like it's a racist. Or they don't like being called mutts. But you have to ask yourself, why would somebody call a Hispanic person a mutt or a spick? That's because they're mixed with all kind of genes. They're mixed with Mongoloid, Italian, mulatto, and that creates a Mexican. Now if you look at this Mexican, his feet, he look just like him. He looked just like him. So we have to understand where people come from. So she's from the Dominican Republic. Okay? She's from the Dominican Republic. She's Hispanic. Now why is this important? Here we go. We got the Puerto Rican princess, right? Off of Love and Hip Hop. Now let's do a cycle out, and I'm gonna use her as an example for why I'm doing this, for why this is important. She called herself the Puerto Rican princess, right? And this is not to gun the queen down. The black woman is God. We love our women, and in doing so, we have to pave the way for truth, right? So this is the Puerto Rican princess, right? Now it's not shit Puerto Rican about her at all. Puerto Rican is an ideology. It's a cult. It's not a. You can't be a Puerto Rican. Now with that being said, he, as I just showed, has ancestral descendants from China and from that area, Mongolia. So with that being said, he's a Mongolian genetically and an Italian. So now with that being said, why is this important? Chinese people don't claim to be no goddamn Hispanic. So if we was really talking about getting our heritage from our ancestors, we would understand that our ancestors don't have any association with the shit we do today. And I'm going to prove it, right? This is Italy, this is Spain. Now, Italy is 17 hours and 57 minutes away from Spain. So damn near one whole day away to travel, right? Now, why is this important? Spanish, the Hispanic language, was created in Italy. It wasn't created in Spain. So now you speak Spanish and you claim a culture to where the language and the tongue that you use is not even from the goddamn geographic location that you claim. So now, for one, you
shit up. So like
you speak a language that actually comes from Italy, doesn't even come from Spain. Now that's one. Then for two, if a Mexican lived in Mexico, why is he speaking a language of somebody who's way the fuck on another continent? I'll tell you why. The same reason that I'm speaking English. Because conquerors came over here and forced their ideology on me. She's from the Dominican Republic, he's a Mexican. So if he's from Mexico and he's over here in America and she's from the goddamn Caribbean or the Bahamas and she's from Dominican Republic, there's no way in fucking hell that they should both have a linguistic system from Italy, let alone her. So now when we're talking about being Hispanic, she's not Neanderthal, she's black. She's of Africa. She is from African descent, but she believes that she is from where they from, because we are ignorant to genetics and blood types, and we are ignorant to the existence of extraterrestrials, which causes us to be ignorant to our true origins and the sacredness that lies above us, that lies within us. The African blood type, specifically the black woman blood type, should be worshipped, it should be protected, and it should be upheld in its purest extent and form, period. So now, with that being said, when we look at the facial features, she don't look nothing like them at all. But I'll tell you who she do look like. She looks just like her. Look at the nose. Look at the nose. Look at the nose. Look at the lips. This is King Tut's mother. Okay? So she's talking about she's the Puerto Rican princess, but you don't look shit like a Mongoloid. You don't have Mongoloid DNA. And you speak a language that has nothing to do with where you're from. Okay? So that being said, with that being said, we have to stop being lost as a people and stop being ignorant to the science, okay? So this just goes to show you the interdimensional handicap that black people are under. Period. Period. Okay, here we go. Genetic origins of non-African descents. Okay, part 4. Here we go. RH factor, monkey blood. So now what is the RH factor? Monkey blood. Exactly like I just said. What is monkey blood? The blood of a goddamn monkey. Okay? Now, who introduced monkey blood into the circulatory system of humanity? It couldn't have been African people or African descendants, because we don't have Neanderthal genes and DNA, and we was O negative. So what you have to understand is the A blood type is an antigen, as I explained, and the B blood type is an antigen. The A blood type is for dog, and the B blood type is for monkey. And this is why, like I said, we're not being racist, we're being scientific. This is why non-African people smell like wet dog when it rains, because they literally have dog genes. Now, why is this important? This leads to all kind of circulatory diseases, okay? Or hemolytic or hemo-based diseases. So when you have sexual intercourse with somebody outside your race, okay, this leads to red blood cell hemolysis. Excuse the typo. Now, red blood cell hemolysis is basically when you ejaculate, because as a woman, we know that, a man can ejaculate his sperm into you. But as a man, a lot of men are ignorant to the fact that your penis not only pushes, but it contracts. And when your penis contracts, it sucks in oxygen. Or if you're in the vagina, because you're in the process of sexual intercourse, you suck in bodily fluids. So the penis intakes substances just like the vagina. So with that being said, whenever you have sex with somebody, okay, you are trading blood and sperm fluids, blood and semen fluids. And with that being said, what happens is the Neanderthal antigen in the blood of the person outside your race that you're having sex with travels to your bloodstream, and it literally begins to thin the protein in your blood and destroy the proteins in your blood. And when this happens, this is called red blood cell hemolysis. Now, once red blood cell hemolysis takes place, it leads to what is known as hemolytic disease. Hemolytic disease is when, as you can see here, a mother, the negative signs is symbolic to Rh negative. Rh means rhesus monkey. Rhesus monkey is an actual monkey. So when they say you're positive for rhesus monkey blood, Rh positive, I mean you're positive with having rhesus monkey blood. Now, this mother is negative, but the baby is positive because she has sex with an Rh positive father. So now what happens is the body literally identifies, the mother's body literally identifies the baby as something foreign, and it sends antibodies, okay, or red blood cells over the placenta to terminate and kill the baby because the body is saying that this is a foreign species inside of you that doesn't exist.
That's why y'all kids shouldn't be on here getting on with all that fucking noise.
Hemolytic disease a little more. Hemolytic disease is the allergic reaction that occurs when the Rh negative mother is carrying a Rh positive child. Her blood builds up antibodies to destroy the alien substance. It says alien substance the same way it would a virus, thereby destroying the infant. But the question is, why would a mother's body reject her own offspring?
Pull your ass on there with some kids.
Nowhere else in nature does this occur naturally. The same problem does occur in mules. A cross between a horse and a donkey. This fact alone points to the distinct possibility of a crossbreeding between two similar but genetically different species. Now, why is this important? Remember earlier when I read the definition of hybrid, and it said, and it broke down the components of a mule and a donkey. Now, hemolytic disease occurs when you study genetic engineering. Any entity that is genetically engineered, aka spliced from two different formats of DNA, automatically suffers from hemolytic disease, and it can't sexually reproduce. So with that being said, the fact that Caucasians have introduced hemolytic disease into the field of sexual reproduction shows that their genetic composition is not natural. And the fact that they have human and monkey DNA, but we know that a human can't impregnate a monkey, also shows that an unnatural genetic composition took place, okay, in order for them to even be walking around and be manifested today. So with that being said, we have to understand the deep components of science, because that's the only thing that's going to unlock our minds to the true understanding of where we come from as far as celestial origins. Now with that being said, let's keep it kicking. Did ancient Egyptians document extraterrestrials? You see the elongated heads of the children. You see the elongated heads, okay, of the king and the queen. Without me going into an entire historical account on this depiction, we're just going to keep it in this field right now. Elongated heads. We're not going to worry about who specifically they are or anything right now. I want y'all to just pay attention to the elongated heads. Now look at the elongated heads of these actual brothers from Africa. Now look at these elongated skulls that was found, right? Now we're going to keep it kicking, because I want y'all to keep that in your head. Truth behind the scenes. Actual and revealing news, okay? Shocking DNA results show that the Star Child skull is alien. Now they found the Star Child skull. They found a skull that they named it the Star Child skull because they said it comes from the stars. And it's of a child, right? And this is the skull right here. You're looking at it. Now why is this important? This skull, right, it's a 900-year-old human-like bone skull with distinctly non-human characteristics. It was unearthed in the mine tunnel near New Mexico's Copper Canyon around 1930, right? The Star Child Project is an informal research group that has coordinated numerous scientific investigations since its founding in February of 1999. Now, why is this important? The Star Child skull was genetically tested, okay, and it only matched 1 out of 167 different haplogroups. Now, if you don't know what a haplogroup is, let me explain. A haplogroup out of 167 different types is basically the different genetic possibilities of children that can be sexually reproduced, or genetic material that can be organized through sexual reproduction.
Covered benefits you qualify for under your existing health insurance plan. Do you happen to still have a health plan through your employer this year?
Where you get this number from?
I see that this number is a qualifying member for one of those. You perhaps happen to have one still.
No, I said, where did you get this number from?
This number?
Yes.
It was laying on my desk and I was asked to give it a call to on you of covered benefits. You perhaps still happen to have one of those coverages this year.
Man, I don't work nowhere, man. I don't work nowhere.
So you have no health insurance coverage.
No, I have Molina healthcare insurance coverage, man.
Okay, well that's all I need to know. I'll update my system. You have a good one.
That's bullshit. I was trying to get into other people's shit. Always stealing.
So with that being said, we have to understand that African people have genetic DNA. And you can see it all right here. You can see when we say the 124 alien genes or the genes that's not from this planet, you can see these brothers share the same elongated skull as the goddamn skull that they found on the ground. So that being said, according to Stephen Greer, his program has approximately 3,500 cases where ET vehicles landed and left physical traces, 4,000 cases where they have been tracked on radar and seen by pilots. An extraterrestrial's body was even presented, okay, that is most likely not of human origins, which I'm showing the body in the next slide. The evidence of UFO existence is overwhelming. There's more evidence for UFOs than there is for black holes, most of the theories in astrophysics, and most of the medications that you take. And yet there is a blockage in the mainstream media and scientific establishment saying where's the evidence. And this paraphrase in this section also comes straight out of the documentary. Period. Now look at this. This is a real extraterrestrial body. This is a real. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and just let you look at it. I ain't even gonna say nothing for about 10 seconds. I'm gonna let you just look. I'm gonna let you just look. Crazy. Y'all done looking? Is it done fucking your head up yet? Okay, I'll give you about 5 more seconds. About 5 more seconds. See, I told you, I'm not coming with no money. I didn't come in here to play. We not talking about, dude, this is an extraterrestrial. What the fuck more proof do you need? Nigga, this is the body. This is the body. Now, a lot of people gonna say, Pharaoh, how you know that's the body? How you know that? Okay, nigga, X-ray don't lie. X-ray don't lie, bruh. X-ray don't lie, bruh. They got bones in there. They got bones and tissue in there, bruh. So ain't nobody make no dummy that good. Okay, where they put the bones in there too. The X-ray don't lie. The X-ray don't lie. So, here we go. Let's keep it kicking. Okay. Look at that. They took the eye out. Okay, they're doing the autopsy on the extraterrestrial. They're doing the autopsy. And so, we can see here that this is an actual corpse, actual body. This is not no made up shit. This is not a hoax. It's not fake, it's real. Now, for niggas who might have an even more hard time accepting the truth, I got the video testimony from the Serious Disclosure documentary of the motherfuckers who did the damn radiology on the being, and I'm about to let you listen to the doctor confirm that it's real. So now listen to this.
Upon arriving in Spain to look at the being for the very first time, I was kind of skeptical. It was definitely a game changer for my thought process to actually see it in person than just see it on film. The first thing we had to do was go to the radiology lab because we needed X-rays and CAT scans before we did anything. The radiologist at the center saw the being and was quite impressed. And the first thing she said was, "Wow, that looks like an alien." And when the CAT scan images started coming up on the computer, it was just profound. And I saw inside the bone, and I saw organs and lung material, brain material. I knew that this was not a hoax, this was not fake, that this was actually some sort of creature.
Okay, nigga. Do y'all do? See, we here to kill the skeptic, and I'm bringing it back. He said lung material, bone material, okay? Structure, okay? So with that being said, look at, this is an actual being. an actual being with a skeletal system, with bone material, with organs, okay, with lung tissue, okay. So it was living at one point. So this is what you understand. Fantasy is reality, and reality is fantasy. The shit that they tell you ain't real, they said giant squid wasn't real for the longest. Them shit's just real, okay? You think motherfuckers just wasted all that goddamn time in ancient times telling people that it's a motherfucking kraken out there that'll eat your goddamn boat and you just made that shit up, okay? So with that being said, you think our ancestors just made up the existence of extraterrestrials? Even for niggas, even for aboriginal niggas, for niggas who don't identify with Africa, that's cool. Okay. Even over here, the Indians call their ancestors star people. They said their ancestors came from the stars. The Dogon tribe of Mali sharpened their teeth to mimic reptilians. What are you talking about? You think our ancestors just documented all of this shit because it was cute? Motherfucker. So where do you think information comes from? It comes from a conscious field. Okay, that's shared by everybody. Period. So with that being said, we need to understand that it's higher planes of existence that we are denying ourselves. Okay? Period. Let me keep it kicking. Stephen Greer first starting out. Stephen says he first formed the CSETI, aka the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, okay? To form a diplomatic corps to make peaceful contact with these ET civilizations. He later goes on to say how he started a set of protocols to make contact. And sure enough, he had spectacular success, he says. Right? This got picked up by the intelligence community, aka the government. So by 1992, I was getting visits from the head of Army Intelligence and other three-letter agencies, so Stephen Greer goes on to say. My intention was never to get involved with trying to disclose the issue. My interest
Hey,
is the whole
I don't know if you're saving up that crystal for personal consumption or because it looks pretty, but you need to sell some of it before they can make any more. You get me? Okay, good. Well, JT out.
Okay? But along that way, a man who was friends with the director of the CIA at the time, by the time Clinton became the president, said, quote, you're going to be the first person to brief the director of Central Intelligence, aka the CIA, and the Clinton administration on this because they had made inquiries, but they had been lied. This is coming straight out of from Stephen Greer. Okay? Roswell incident leads to USAPs. The incident at Roswell, okay, led to the event of bringing forth material that could be publicly studied. This caused the government to make a change in its national security organization. Within weeks of the Roswell incident, the CIA was formed. The Air Force was also formed by being split out of the Army Air Force. This also, in the end, led to the development of USAPs. This is why President Eisenhower, even though he knew about the subject on a fairly deep level, had completely lost control of it by 1961 when he left the office. From this became a separation between legitimate national security and deep black programs that are unacknowledged. Once again, this is straight quoted out of the documentary. Now, a USAP program stands for Unacknowledged Special Access Programs. And these are programs that are actually considered black programs. They're not monitored or overseen by the government, the president, the Congress, or anybody. So this is why Edward Snowden got in trouble, because he told on a secret operation, that was actually overseen by the president. These are not overseen by the president or the Congress or underneath the scrutiny of the citizens of this country. So therefore, you can't get in trouble for talking about it. Now, with that being said, USAP black budget, okay? This is a secret unacknowledged budget, right, that runs from $100 to $200 million a year. The Pentagon's own auditors admit that it cannot account for 25% of what it already spends. There are a minimum of $2.3 trillion unaccounted for funds and transactions. That's $8,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. Now remember, on September 20th of 2001, Donald Rumsfeld held a press conference to state that the Pentagon was missing more than $2.3 trillion. But the next day was 9/11, okay? And remember also in 2001 is when Stephen Greer and them held that conference in Washington, D.C. to expose extraterrestrials. So the government knocked down 9/11 not only to carry out the agenda, but to create a story in the media line that would allow you to be distracted from the fact that they just almost got outed on high intelligence of extraterrestrials, as well as to make you forget about the $2.3 trillion that came up missing, because if you would have investigated and tracked it, you would have seen that it was going to these USAP programs for actually reverse engineering extraterrestrial technologies from crashed UFOs and creating what is called ARVs, alien reproduced vehicles, as well as other destructive arrangements on the planet Earth. Now, with that being said, let's keep it kicking. Official testimonies on USAP programs, Black Budgets, Part 1, right? This is Daniel P. Sheehan. He's a constitutional attorney, and he's quoted stating, "It's now the military-industrial intelligence complex that are moving bureaucratically toward establishing dominion and control over the entire democratic process in the country, and they're waging war, invading the Middle Eastern oil fields, and occupying the oil fields, attempting to establish what they themselves refer to as full-spectrum control." Testimony number 2, Michael Schratt, military aerospace historian. "We're spending well over $100 million per day on classified programs that have no congressional oversight, no public scrutiny, and no monitor of these programs. A number of these programs go directly through Congress totally. When you start going through these documents, these programs start dropping off the radar screen. These are the classified programs within the defense budget. These are all classified programs within the defense budget, but they don't supply any technical information on the program." Keeping it kicking. Once again, official testimonies on how USAPs work. Daniel P. Sheehan, constitutional attorney. "They have formed alliances amongst themselves, right, of the industry that makes money by building war machines, the military that uses the war machine and justifies them, okay, and the intelligence community that is not really an intelligence community. It's a covert operation community armed with military weapons and nuclear weapons, and they are trying to push boundaries now of establishing their dominion and full spectrum dominance over the planet." Okay, the president and Congress in regards to USAP. Because if all of this shit is going on, we gotta assume that the president and the Congress know, right? Well, Stephen Greer, was speaking on the above issue, said, "If people think the Congress and the president actually have a handle on this, they are gravely mistaken. They do not. This is where we get into the structure of secrecy. There is secrecy that is legal, which is being managed by the president, the Congress, and the intelligence community, and that the intelligence communities know about. And then there is secrecy that is illegal, being the USAP, aka unacknowledged special access programs, because they are not overseen by the president, Congress, etc. Stephen was once told by the former director of CIA named James Woolsey. James Woolsey told Stephen Greer at a conversation they were having one time, he says, quote, "I already know this is real in regards to the extraterrestrial phenomena," but he said, "But why am I, the CIA director, James Woolsey, and the president of the United States not being told anything about it?" So before we go any further, what we need to understand is that, the problem is deeper than the government. There's a shadow government, which I broke down in one of my YouTube videos, that due to my research is ran by extraterrestrials, that actually is what we would call the elites. So the president, when we talking about, we already knew the president didn't run shit, but now we know how and why. So with that being said, these USAP programs are actually causing the destructional influences in the world and using the ones controlling the media, and they don't even give access to the president or to face law enforcement agencies like FBI, CIA, etc. to certain people if they're not down with the program. So what people have to understand is this is shit that you see in movies. This is shit but this is real shit. It's like 007 where he had never met the dude who was actually the agent, I think it was called Spectrum. He actually ran Spectrum, and it was like he had never met him. That's exactly what this type of shit is. It's a government within a government. And these are the people that are hiding and controlling the flow of information, period, from the public. Now, that being said, USAP basis document. This is an actual document containing all of the bases. So you got like Royal Ops, Cosmic Ops, Majestic Ops, Common Ops, Cosmic Ops, Elite Ops, etc. These are all of the unacknowledged special access programs bases, right? This is from the Central Security Service, Status Classified Restricted Subject Matter, Special Security Advisory, This document is from July 28, 1991. Okay? And this document is dated July 28, 1991, right? And it lists all the compartmented operations ran out of the Nellis facility. The Nellis facility is wrongfully called Area 51 by the public. So that area that you call Area 51 is actually known as the Nellis facility, Nellis. This document was given to Admiral Tom Wilson, who was the head of the intelligence, for the Joint Chief of Staff. Admiral Tom Wilson, after being given this document that I'm showing you with all of these USAT programs, called one of these departments, asking to be briefed on its activities, and was told he doesn't have a need to know. These programs do not care about one's rank and position. They only care about where you go along with their agenda. Now let me show y'all how critical this is. This document has a list of all of the undercover operations that was going on underneath the government nose, right? Now let me show y'all who the fuck the Joint Chief of Staff is, if you don't know. The Joint Chief of Staff is a body of senior uniformed leaders in the United States Department of Defense who advise the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Homeland Security Council, and the National Security Council on military matters. Now, at the time, Tom Wilson was the head of intelligence for the Joint Chief of Staff. So Tom Wilson's job was to advise the United States Department of Defense, the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, Homeland fucking Security, and National Security. So he is in charge of all of these major law enforcement agencies, and he made a call to one of these goddamn operations, and they told his ass, you don't have a need to know. How the fuck you tell the Joint Chief of Staff that he don't have a need to know about what the fuck is going on as far as the security of this country is concerned? So this goes to show y'all how out of control these motherfucking USAT programs have grown. So when we're talking about the extraterrestrial phenomenon, it get deeper than deep. So I want y'all to understand how detrimental this shit is, okay? And this is an actual document listing all of the bases, right, from that point in time. We don't know where they located to because niggas is always late. So that document is from that century, is 2017 now. Now that being said, Bill Clinton on the UFO disclosure. According to Stephen Greer, within a couple of months of him briefing the CIA director, right, he got a visit from one of Bill Clinton's good friends in his home, who says to him, we love what you're recommending, being that the president do executive orders to declassify and bring all of this information out. They really think that it's a great idea, but the president won't do it because it's dangerous. So Steve Greer then said, well, he's the president. If he didn't want to be the president, he shouldn't have taken on the responsibility and sworn an oath to the Constitution. Bill Clinton's friend then said to Stephen Greer, yeah, but you don't understand. They don't think that they can protect the president. They're concerned that he may end up like John F. Now, my point is this. I honestly wouldn't give a damn because if you are the president of a country, this is your nation, you should be able to risk your life and tell the truth to your nation. I love my family. I love my household. I would put my life on the line for my household. So that being said, people got to stop taking positions that they're not ready to fulfill. But then for two, this is a damn shame when you got the government and you got the Secret Service and you got all of these agencies not feeling confident in their ability to protect the president of the United States from the fucking USAT program. It's a shame when you got the Joint Chief of Staff can't even call and get no information on these programs, and you the goddamn Joint Chief of Staff. So now we have to ask, how much power does the government, how much power does the government that we see on the surface actually really have? Now with that being said, the assassination of Marilyn Monroe and JFK. I bet y'all didn't know Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy got killed behind extraterrestrials. I bet you didn't know that. Now watch this. According to Stephen Greer, John F. Kennedy intended to shrink the military-industrial complex and also had plans to virtually dissolve the CIA, who were involved in some nefarious plots, including the sale of narcotics. JFK also wanted the UFO matters disclosed. These and other reasons eventually led to his assassination. Let's see if we get it right. JFK's mistress, Marilyn Monroe, was assassinated first before he was, but trying to expose info he had given her on the UFOs at a public press conference. This was found out by the CIA through a wiretap documenting of her conversation on August 3rd, 1962, just is 2 days before her death on August 5th, 1962. Don't worry, I'm showing the document in the next slide. Now, with that being said, after being jilted, which means like shunned away, abandoned, or basically she got curved by the Kennedy brothers because she was having sex with both the Kennedy brothers, she became upset and hurt. Out of this hurt stage, she called Robert Kennedy, a socialite in New York, and an art dealer friend of hers, stating that she was going to set up a press conference and tell the public what JFK had told her regarding objects in outer space in 1940 that had crashed into the 36 hours after being wiretapped. Marilyn Monroe was found dead from an overdose. When Stephen Greer shared this info with Girl Eyes, first noticed the face. He was told by Eyes, Marilyn Monroe and I knew each other very well, but I can tell you this, all of us knew that she had been murdered, but it wasn't until today straight out of the book, straight out of document. Now with that being said, let me show y'all the documentation. Let me show y'all the documentation to prove this shit. Let me show y'all the documentation to prove this shit. Assassination of Marilyn Monroe and JFK Part 2, right? This document has been authenticated by the top document authenticator in the fucking world. So with that being said, I don't want nobody talking about it's fake. I don't want no, this is all information. Now, you probably can't read this document word for word. It has multiple pages. It's a CIA wiretap of Marilyn Monroe, original, not for publication, August 3rd, 1962. So, with that being said, I'm going to flip to the next slide. You fucking level? Okay. Country, New York. Subject, Marilyn Monroe. Date, August 3rd, 1962. Right? Reference, Glendale, South 14. Wiretap of telephone conversation between reporter Nancy Killigan and her close friend Howard Roberts. Right? Wiretap of telephone conversation with Marilyn Monroe and Attorney General Robert Kennedy. Appraisal of content. Rob Berg discussed the apparent comeback of subject and Killigan and the breakup with the Kennedys. Rob Berg told Killigan that she was attending Hollywood parties hosted by the inner circle among Hollywood elites and was becoming the talk of the town again. Rob Berg indicated in so many words that she had secrets to tell, no doubt arising from her tryst with the president and the attorney general. One such secret mentions the visit by the president at a secret air base for the purpose of inspecting the outer space. Killigan replied, right, that she knew what might be the source of business. In the mid-50s, Killigan learned of secret efforts by U.S. and U.K. government to identify the origins of crashed spacecraft and dead bodies from a British government official. Killigan believed the story may have come from the New Mexico crash in the late 40s. Killigan said that if the story is true, it would cause terrible embarrassment to Jack, a.k.a. John F. Kennedy, and his plans to have NASA put men on the moon. Number 2, subject repeatedly called the Attorney General and complained about the way she was being ignored by the President and his brother. 3, subject threatened to hold a press conference and would tell it all. 4, subject made references to bases in Cuba and knew of the President's plan to kill Castro. 5, subject made references to her diary of secrets, what the newspapers would do with such disclosure. Top secret, signed by Jane Angleton, who worked for the FBI. So with that being said, they tapped her phone, and she was mad, and she was very upset, and motherfucking, she was mad that John F. Kennedy was sending her, and she was like, nigga, if you don't want to take my calls, I'm going to hold a press conference, and I'm going to tell the public all the top secret shit you shouldn't have been telling me when you was pillow talking, and the motherfucker, little did she know that her phone was tapped, and they killed their motherfucking ass exactly 36 hours after she thought she was about to plan a press conference and tell it all. So with that being said, Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy both got killed for trying to expose that extraterrestrial. Now, here you go. Now you have it. Now with that being said, is the government/media purposely blocking information? Part 1. The following is a page out of the unacknowledged book confirming the document where the CIA confirms infiltrating the media. Right? I scanned this right off the page. This is page 104. I scanned this right off the book. Now that being said, it says this is a serious matter and not just for the UFO/ET subject. Okay, CIA document states The Public Affairs Office now has relationships with reporters in every major wire service, newspaper, news weekly, and television network in the nation. In many instances, the PAO has persuaded reporters to postpone, change, hold, and even scrap stories that could have adversely affected national security interests or jeopardized sources of justice. The corruption of the media means our democracy has been undermined along with our basic constitutional protections. If you control the information flow through the elite media, and the only place where you can get the information is through tabloids, which is where they want it, because it is discredited there on the internet, where there is so much false information mixed into real information that you don't know what to make of it. This creates complete confusion. So that being said, this shows you that they are controlling and stopping the flow of information in regards to extraterrestrial purposes. This is being done purposely and devisively by the government to keep you from knowing. So that being said, it's really all in the pudding right now. It's really all in your face. Okay? Period. Now that being said, is the government / media purposely blocking this information? Alright, supposed to be part 2. Daniel P. Sheehan, right? There's a finding, and this is quoted, and he said this in the documentary series of Unknowledge. There's a finding that the High Committee made, right, that they had 42 full-time CIA paid employees that were inserted inside the major national media news centers, and most of them ended up being the so-called national security reporters. I know reporters from Time magazine who have told me specifically that they provided the stories and their editors have spiked them. There has been a decision made within the national security state infrastructure to ridicule and dismiss cases that they know positively are cases of genuine sightings of UFOs and extraterrestrial beings. That's perfectly clear. Next testimony. Michael Schratt, again, military aerospace historian. When you go to a supermarket checkout and you look at the tabloids, what you may be reading there are actual stories of actual events. But when it's portrayed through the tabloids, it gets discredited. And they make sure they keep shit in the tabloids because you think it's some bullshit and you won't read it. Now here we go. Project Blue Book was an operation set up by the government in 1952 to assure the American public it was looking into the UFO matter. Meanwhile, they were ridiculing and making a mockery of the situation through the media, using the operation to debunk and disprove the subject matter from the public. Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who you see over there in that picture to the right, eventually came clean and said he was there to debunk these cases, not to get the truth to the public. Dr. J. Allen Hynek was born May 1st, 1910 in Chicago. He died April 27, 1986 in Scottsdale, Arizona. Period. Let's keep it moving. How are ET bodysuits and spacecraft manufactured? According to Stephen Greer, the way the extraterrestrial suit is made is they stand into an energy field that has a set resonance level and it materializes around them. And it comes off the same way. Okay? The UFO is entered and created the same way as well. It's called infra-ultrasonic manufacturing, which I'll show in the next slide. The way it works is imagine going beyond the speed of light and even beyond the zero-point energy field and creating an architectural blueprint of a spacecraft on this level of vibration, which is voidless energy set in motion to become physical upon through the vibratory guidance of its user at that time. This level can be considered the astral level, or what science considers celestial light, level of existence. Then what happens is the conscious constructs are then resonated into this dimension physically through sound frequencies, being cymatics and sonic geometric frequencies. So upon its becoming physical state, the craft recruits atoms, molecules, and structures through electromagnetic compositional attraction. Okay? Not hand-to-hand manufacturing. This is why all UFOs are seamless. Government ARVs, aka alien vehicles, have seams. Note, the elements in the extraterrestrial crafts are so pure that even in the vacuum of space, they cannot be manufactured. All literature on these beings and crafts, after being retrieved, are consistent in this same report. The crafts are also composed of nanobiotechnology, giving them the literal quality of consciousness. The craft itself has the consciousness of its occupants, particularly the head or captain of the craft. Military testimony confirms that during the craft retrieval, the craft will be trying to heal itself. So the craft will be, whenever the craft gets damaged, it heals itself the same way your body heals itself as if it had a scan. Let's keep it kicking, right? How are ET bodysuits and spacecraft manufactured cartoon? Infra-ultrasonic manufacturing. Infra means below, right? And the etymology of the word infra means below. Ultra means beyond, okay? The etymology of the word ultra takes you to the Latin origin, ultra, which means beyond. Sonic is denoting, relating to, or of the nature of sound waves. Etymology of the word sound. Alright, ultrasonic when together, definition is of or involving sound waves with a frequency above the upper limit of human hearing. Now remember, way in the beginning of this lecture, when I was talking about trans-dimension, and trans is what? Beyond dimension is measured. So infra-ultrasonic manufacturing is to produce. What you're saying is, the way that extraterrestrial bodysuits and spacecraft are created is through below or beyond, right, sound waves with a frequency above the limit of with a frequency that is above the ability for humans to detect. So for me to give you an example, it would be like how precipitation becomes liquid water and ice. So what they do is they put the idea, the consciousness, as well as the intellectually composed blueprint on the level of which science calls celestial light, which is basically the astral plane. And that's the plane where everything vibrates into existence. And then what they do is they have the actual conscious idea materialize itself on this plane. So they're using sound and light the same way that our bodies is nothing more than light and sound. The sun, the same way that, see, when you understand how the sun came into existence in the sky, you understand exactly the level of intelligence that they've tapped into to create, their vehicles manufactured. The sun was vibrated through the through radio waves. Radio waves are what? Electromagnetic signals carrying sound messages. So they're using radio waves to create and comprise and manufacture conscious attire as well as craft, the same way nature uses sound to produce anything that you've ever seen with your own two eyes. So it's really not a difficult science to comprehend. You gotta just understand the science of the universe. And for that, we go into zero-point energy. Now, what is zero-point energy? Zero-point energy is the fluctuation of electrical field energy embedded within the fabric of space, okay? It is found at 0 degrees, which is not only the temperature of space, but it is the degree in which molecules stop movement. It is at this point where energy is infinite, and infinite at its source, and can be accessed bioenergetically along with technologically, okay? So now let's keep it kicking. UFOs and zero-point energy testimonials, part 1. Dr. Hal Puthoff. So-called empty space isn't really empty at all. It's actually full of energy. So instead of being like a quiet, empty lake, it's more like the froth of a waterfall. You know what froth is? Froth is like that foamy, white-looking stuff when you look at the bottom of a waterfall. So let's keep it moving. Zero-point energy testimonies, part 2. Mark McCandlish, who's a military aeronautics illustrator, right, said the amount of energy in a cubic centimeter of space is 10 to the 26 power exponent. It's 10 to the 26 power exponent. So that being said, when you do the calculations on that, that's enough energy in a coffee cup to boil the oceans of the earth away in the steam. So now let me give y'all the science, right? Because my brain was jumping to the science before I could even get the sentence out, because I was so eager to get the damn knowledge out. This is a cubic centimeter. Do you know how small that is? So it's enough energy in here that if you was to take the amount of energy within this measurement of space, this small ass cubic centimeter, and put this shit in a coffee cup, you could boil all the water away in all of the oceans on the planet Earth into steam. Do you know how much goddamn energy that is? That's being harnessed? That we can be harnessing? Every cubic centimeter of empty space contains more energy than the total energy of all the matter in the known universe. So every square centimeter or every cubic centimeter of space contains more energy than all the amounts of space put together. So there's infinite energy in every square cubic square centimeter of space. We just got to tap into it. And this is what we're not being taught to do. Even when you talk about people doing chi, or you talking about people that's like Buddhist monks or people that's reaching extreme feats, all they're doing is tapping into 0-point energy, and they're bioenergetically commuting that energy. So that being said, UFOs and 0-point energy testimony part 3, Richard Doty. They had a piece that they thought was plexiglass, a rectangular piece of plexiglass. For years before they figured out it was an energy device for the craft. And it was connected, right, in such a manner that this device could power a very small watch or anything up to a city. The power was determined by what the demand on it was. So each of these crafts had one of these. Okay, next. Does 0-point energy technology exist? Okay. Peace, family. Welcome to YoungPharaoh.net. Subscribe now for exclusive access to me and all of my content for things such as lectures, Pharaoh Live Universities, children's videos, radio interviews, behind the scenes and documentaries, and much, much more. Be sure to subscribe now, family. Also, don't forget the Internet YouTube promo code, which is YouTubeYP. Internet for a discount off your subscription. So with that being said, family, you get exclusive access to me and all my work. And as I continue to grow, I want y'all to grow with me. So with that being said, family, YoungPharaoh.net, subscribe now. Also follow me on social media, family. Instagram at Pharaoh_Allah. Twitter at Pharaoh_Allah. Facebook at Young Pharaoh. And subscribe now to my YouTube channel at Young Pharaoh. And with that being said, family, I'll see y'all in the classroom. Peace.
Hey, what's up, my friend kNOw here. In a moment, I'm going to step into my office here at my home and pull out my computer and show you exactly, how it is that I went from barely scraping by working in a coffee shop to creating a life.
Peace, family. This video right here is about extraterrestrial interactions and signs. Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the different forms of extraterrestrial interaction, physically as well as on the astral plane, and I'm going to also break down the physical signs that extraterrestrials leave behind to help usher humanity into higher levels of consciousness, and I'm going to also answer the question of that assholes always like to ask, if extraterrestrials is real, why I don't never see them and why they don't just come down and blah, 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 blah. So that being said, family, let's jump right into it. When we're talking about extraterrestrial interaction, the average person is indoctrinated with fear, as well as a hell of an ego, to where an extraterrestrial is not just going to come talk to you. You know why? Because you're an asshole, and 9 times out of 10 you're ignorant, and you'll probably try to shoot it and kill it. And for 2, the government has imprisoned this planet, and they're pushing an agenda to make people fear extraterrestrials. When extraterrestrials are not a threat to humanity, the government is a threat to humanity. Extraterrestrials are only concerned about humanity. So that being said, this is why they come up with all of these movies and games and bullshit to make you scared of extraterrestrials. And they're even going to go as far, they have what is known as quantum holographic technology that they're going to try to use to project a fictitious goddamn alien invasion. And they also have man-made UFOs that they're going to use to basically terrorize and try to instigate World War III, which is going to be allegedly intergalactic, and I'll do another video on that, which is just going to be a lie, and they're going to try to trick humanity to fear extraterrestrials, when extraterrestrials are not the problem. Now, well, the ones that they're talking about. Now, with that being said, one form of extraterrestrial is what you would call a full-time abductee. Well, I'm gonna start at the base level. You have what they call in and outers. And I really don't like the word abductee, because abductee is like they take you and nobody never hears from you again, and they have CIA agents that actually dress up like extraterrestrials and kidnap people, and they say that people were abducted. So they have, the government is trying to throw a monkey wrench in extraterrestrial phenomena as much as they can. So keeping it righteous, you have what is called in and outers. You got people who actually, during sleep, use their astral body to interface with extraterrestrials, and this is done for a myriad of reasons. Some people receive information and give it to the public. Other people actually help to train organisms on the planet, on the ship or the UFO craft, such as life forms. Like, for example, they might have a hybrid on the UFO, let's say, because we know that Caucasians are hybrid for a fact. And you might have a person who's half, let's say, human and half whatever else. So you have a person from Earth who may have reached a certain level of spiritual enlightenment, might be a Buddhist monk, might be somebody, who knows. It's not a nigga on BET, so don't worry about that. So don't go ask your favorite rapper, because he won't have anything to do with this. So that being said, they'll find a spiritually and intellectually enlightened being who has a certain level of sensation in a certain heart chakra level of vibrancy to fill in on the ship and actually educate hybrids on what it's like to be on Earth before the hybrids are actually sit down to Earth to interface and interact with humanity to uplift consciousness. Now, these people are called in and outers because they don't stay on the ship permanently. Then you have people that are called full-timers, and these are people who have just vanished magically without a trace. The government, nobody knows where they went, but they done left behind notes and things like that to their family that who said that they interface with extraterrestrials. And I'll put a link in the description of this video of a guy who actually did this, and they gone and they never come back to Earth, and they go either to other planets or they go on they go on these crafts, and they basically dedicate the rest of their physical existence while in the shell to aiding and abetting in the consciousness of this planet from outside this planet. Then you got people that are called astro teachers, and they have what are called biolumin pods, which are biological bodies, right? Well, they're robotic biological bodies, which basically are like avatars, just like the Avatar movie. And there are people from this planet who can actually astral project out of this body, inhabit one of the biological humanoid robotic pods, and basically interface around other planets and on UFOs as an extraterrestrial, but they're not. And they basically go from this world to the next world, this world to the next world constantly. And a lot of these type of people, the government snatch them up and try to lock them up and things like that. So, you know, when you do your research on them, you'll always find them under attack or being fouled. So with that being said, family, those are the basic forms of interfacing that humans do with extraterrestrials. And most of the interfacing is done during sleep because
legend has it that Texas was made in San Antonio. But we encourage you
because, for one, you have to be in a calm state. You have to be in the delta state. Now, the average person over here in the Western Hemisphere doesn't meditate. They don't give a fuck about nature. Nigga, you just don't care. You're ignorant. You're fully gone, and you think you're conscious, but you're not. So that being said, you're not in tune with hyper frequency. So the delta state is where a Buddhist monk would be, you know, considered wild, woke, conscious, walking around. Now, the reason I use Buddhist monk is because that's a relative character that we can all relate to and understand and see consciously and visually and physically their level of spiritual ascension. So the average person is not there. So you go to delta state when you dream, when you go to sleep and you begin to dream. Because when you begin to dream, your brain is releasing DMT and your pineal gland is fully active, and trans-dimensional beings can then interface with you and give you information, and you can give them information electromagnetically through your neurological thought process. So that be thought process. So that being said, delta state is when you're the calmest. Remember, you got beta and alpha, which is the worst two. Then you got theta and delta, which theta is like happiness and joy, and then delta is like calm and peace and serenity. So you reach delta when you're at peace. And I'm going to do a video on, I got a pEOplE University coming on heart rate frequency, which is going to incorporate the delta state again as well, and how that helps you to interact with trans-dimensional beings. But with that being said, then you have physical signs, right? Not only do you got people coming back and people waking up with scars, or their nose, people wake up with nosebleeds, people wake up with marks on their body that they don't know where they came from out of sleep. These come from physical interaction, right? Or metaphysical interaction with trans-dimensional entities or extraterrestrials or the ancestors during sleep, and your body physiologically manifests these effects. This is a fact. They've done experiments where people were tricked and hypnotized into believing that they were cut or that they were burned or that they were physically harmed, and their body produced the effect without them actually being in the experience. So that being said, this to somewhat is the same effect that is happening with us while we sleep. So when people wake up and they got marks on their body and they don't know where they came from, or if you keep waking up and you got nosebleeds, 9 times out of 10, you're interacting and interfacing with some form of ancestor, trans-dimensional being, or extraterrestrial. So with that being said, family, what you should try to do is wake up and write out your dreams and see if you can remember them, and you'll be surprised at what it is you're actually doing while you're asleep. And they call these people Gemini people, because you know how they say Gemini people is two-sided. And the reason they call these type of people Gemini people as well as experiencers is because you're not being abducted. You are using your free will to live walk two spiritual journeys. You have the journey that you walk here on this earth plane while you're woke, and then you have the journey that you walk in the spiritual realm while you're asleep. And you allow the information and experiences that you get from both walks to raise the level of consciousness of humanity. So that being said, also you have crop circles. Now, we know that the government tries to man-make crop circles, so we're going to debunk that. When the government or white people who wish to hide this information, right, try to debunk crop circles, they use planks of wood or other man-made objects to flatten out the crop circles and re-manifest the shape. Now, for one, the shapes that are man-made are never as intricate and complexly designed as the ones made by extraterrestrials or light beings. Now, here's the proof. When an extraterrestrial makes a crop circle, there's scientific data to show that it was not man-made. Being of the following. For one, you can always find insects dead but frozen in place, right, on the crop circle due to high concentrations of energy. You don't find that in man-made crop circles. 2, the genetic material of the crop circle is altered. You don't find that in man-made crop circles. 3, the water concentration inside the crop circles is always drained. You don't find that in man-made crop circles. 4, man-made crop circles are smashed flat and the plants and the life is killed. In extraterrestrial made crop circles, the plant life is never killed and it's not crushed, it's actually woven. So just like, it's basically like tying your shoe. They're actually interwoven, right? Like if giant hands was to come out the sky and tie these crops into a knot. Go look it up. That is what is actually creating the patterns. So when you look at a man-made crop circle and an extraterrestrial made crop circle, there is actually scientific evidence to prove which one is made by who. And last but not least, there's what is known as iron oxide, which is actually found on meteorites. And normally in the atmosphere, iron oxide is found at low levels of concentration.
Where all these commercials coming from?
But in crop circles, it's found to be 100 times higher than normal, which means the energy in the atmosphere, and aka the heat signature in the atmosphere, is being concentrated. Because remember, a laser is just concentrated light. So the oxygen in the atmosphere is being ionized and concentrated at a precision, at a high level of precision in a specific location, to manipulate atoms electromagnetically, interwove them, and create these patterns. So that being said, family, there's scientific data proving that crop circles are made by other people not from this planet. So outside of that, a crop circle, right? You might think, bro, why did they make a crop circle? Because if you can't goddamn go to New York and goddamn interwove a goddamn building. So with that being said, that will cause destruction. Extraterrestrials have care for life, unlike some of you niggas who still litter to this day. So that being said, the crop circles are psychedelic patterns. Remember, I broke down in my other video how psychedelic imagery was nothing more than the remanifestation and reflection of energy on an anatomic level that you are putting out and how it is reacting to you. So that being said, psychedelic patterns are nothing more than imagery, which is telling us which frequency to get on. So I'm coming out with a lecture where I'm going to show how sound wave is actually manipulating sand to different patterns. And I had an image that I showed of a psychedelic image imprinted on the top of a pyramid damn near 20,000 years ago, and scientists, once vibrating sound at its highest frequency, actually caused sand today, in this day and time, to actually remanifest that same energy. So we understand that the ancients who actually interacted with extraterrestrials achieved a certain level of consciousness. Consciousness is nothing but sound. Remember, the sun is nothing more than an electromagnetic ball made out of sound. The first level of the electromagnetic spectrum is radio frequency. When you look up the definition of radio frequency, it says electromagnetic waves carrying those especially sound messages. So in the Bible, when it says God said, let there be light, helios, holy in Greek means helios, which means sun, and Bible in Greek means biblios, which means book. The Bible literally means literally means sun book. And in the Bible it says our Lord God is the sun and shield. So when it says God said, let there be light, it's talking about the electromagnetic spectrum, sound and voice activating the sun, period. So that being said, the pyramids was built off levitation, which actually is manipulation of sound to cause a natural disconnection of gravity between two objects, which naturally pull them together. The sound actually disaccords that natural phenomena, and from there you're able to make an object that could be a ton now weighs zero in mass. And in quantum physics, you know, our ancestors, and today scientists in the lab has already proven that there's an energy point called 0 point gravity, where you can make anything that has a physical mass weigh 0 points due to raising the octave of this natural vibration of its molecules in their natural vibrational state to a different pitch. So that being said, family, crop circles are nothing more than visual symbols which are telling humanity which frequencies we need to get on. And depending upon the shape of the crop circle, right, if we still possess the ancient wisdom or the information that we could get to, if it wasn't being hid from us by Masons and the goddamn government, we would be able to look at a crop circle and identify the pattern that it's making and see what sound that is, okay? Because now you have to look up biofield tuning and biotuning, okay? Because there's actually a branch of science called bioenergetics, right, and biotuning, and binary sound tuning, where they use sound to heal the body. So this is actually being practiced. So that being said, if we were in tune with this branch of science the way we should be, we would be able to look at our crop circle and see exactly which frequencies and octaves we should be getting to on a scale of humanity. Period, family. Period. So that being said, extraterrestrials interact with people every goddamn day. We just too ignorant to see it. And when we say, why don't extraterrestrials come down and interface with us, they used to. But the government developed what they have called is scalar linear technology, aka scalar EM. EM stands for electromagnetic. Scalar. Go look it up. SCALAREM. Scalar EM. Scalar electromagnetic weaponry. And what scalar linear technology does is it allows the government to manipulate the natural energetic field of the planet Earth, right, aka torus energy, aka the latitude and longitude lines of the planet Earth, and actually cause amplifications and electromagnetic waves at distinct locations. So when you look at a globe or you look at the Earth and you see like 45 degrees longitude and 52 degrees latitude, that is actually a coordinate. So what they've done, and there's proof to show.
Hey, what's up, my friend? kNOw here. And in a moment, I'm going to step into my office here at my home and pull out my computer and show you exactly, how it is that I went from barely scraping by working in a coffee shop to creating a life that I love, that revolves around the things that I'm passionate about. And before we get into that, though, can I just be perfectly honest with you? Anyone who tells you that wealth accumulation is easy, well, they're flat out lying to you. There's millionaires running around the internet talking about how they have a system that you can duplicate, and really what they're doing is selling a pipe dream. And anyone who flashes their Lamborghini and fancy cars with every chance that they get, while also saying that those things aren't important to them, well, they're full of you-know-what. You see, what these people are doing is attempting to prey on our most primitive desire, the desire for life to be easy. But the fact of the matter is that life, love,
show that there's over 4,000 documented cases of governments around the world documenting extraterrestrial aircraft on their radars. What they do is when they catch, for example, the Roswell incident, when they caught a UFO fully materializing into third density from the higher density in which it came, because remember, dimensions are just angles of light, just like we're molecularly being reconstructed to 5 density, like I broke down in my video Chiron 7, how we're going from Chiron 12 to Chiron 7, we're raising our frequency. Extraterrestrials lower their frequency to come here. And what happens is once they lower themselves to third density, they get spotted on government radar. And what the government does is they use scalar electromagnetic weaponry to basically irritate and sabotage the propulsion system of UFOs, and this is how they crash, and this is exactly how the UFO crashed in Roswell where they recovered the body. So that being said, extraterrestrials, due to this reason, don't densify or try to materialize themselves into this realm as such. So they might flash as a light, or you see orbs or things like that, but mostly they try to interact with people during sleep or feed you things internally through your consciousness, because they don't want to deal with the ignorant shit these Europeans is doing with through the motherfucking government. So that being said, family, this is the main reason why extraterrestrials don't come down. And for two, it's because this is not their motherfucking planet. It's ours. It's Africans people's planet. So we do share it with other beings, and we're not unrighteous, demonic, devilish beings as some people are on this motherfucking planet. But at the end of the day, extraterrestrials understand that it's not their job to take over somebody's shit. Do you go in your neighbor's house and tell them, listen, I'm vegan, so you throwing out this goddamn meat? And do you throw out all their goddamn meat and put fucking vegetables in their shit and make a pEOplE? No. You just suggest to them what they should do. If they don't follow it, that's on them. Same thing with extraterrestrials. They are constantly feeding us information in our sleep. They are constantly showing themselves to us. They are constantly giving us the telltale signs of higher levels of consciousness. Humanity is the ignorant motherfuckers who are not listening. They are allowing the government to make this shit into a joke. Black people have allowed fuckery niggas to come in here and make the subject into a joke. And the world itself has been fooled into thinking reality TV is reality, and shit that's actually going on in reality is not. So you can tell a motherfucker Jesus is real, And the only physical evidence of Jesus that anybody ever found was a goddamn slave boat from 1555. And they'll believe it. You can tell a motherfucker, Santa Claus, a fat-ass, overweight European, can come down a skinny-ass narrow chimney and give your children presents, and they'll believe it. But nobody can believe that there's other life out there in the universe. Is you a stupid motherfucker or is you a dumb motherfucker? Is you stupid or is you dumb? So that being said, family, excuse me. Extraterrestrials interact and interface with us every day. There is substantial proof out there. And I'm getting ready to give an entire lecture on this, where I'm coming with government documentation from all kind of motherfucking credible sources, from Air Force generals, military generals, all kind of motherfuckers that from presidents of the United States to confirm it. And I'm also going to show actual projects that have been set up 1,000% to deal with extraterrestrials, not just to prove them, but the unrighteous projects and organizations that were set up to disprove them, and how there are people in the government giving testimony, how they pay the motherfuckers in major media outlets to discredit any terrestrial information or news that comes through, or to not show it on any national news outlets at all. So that being said, family, there's something being hidden from you, but it's being hidden right in your face. And that's why you don't see it, because it's so obvious that it's not obvious. And motherfuckers are so busy arguing about dumb shit that they can't get on the true means of importance. This planet Earth has been de-civilized. So that being said, it's not advanced. They tell you that the ancients were primitive and now we're advanced. Actually, ancient civilizations were advanced and we're now primitive. Ancient civilizations learned how to use minerals, metals, geomancy, geometry, trigonometry, architecture, and alchemy to build energy-free civilizations which powered the entire nation and didn't kill any wildlife while in the process. Niggas today, or people on the planet Earth today, or ignorant-ass humans today, rape this planet, pillage this motherfucker for all its resources in the name of economics, produce, and the matrix. So that being said, family, the dollar is nothing more than a distraction. And extraterrestrials interface with you every day. But at the end of the day, the point is, you have to listen to what is coming through and what feels right to you. So fear is the only thing stopping planet Earth from evolving. So that being said, when we say, why don't extraterrestrials come down and interface? A motherfucker not gonna come down here and risk getting captured by these wicked ass Europeans for you. And then for two, nigga, when they do come down here, you don't give a fuck. How many goddamn extraterrestrial UFO sightings do you need? How many motherfucking UFO crashes do you goddamn need? How many goddamn recordings of people?
Guys, today I'm going to show you the best, most simple way to get all the benefits of apple cider vinegar without the horrible taste. My name is Flower, the lead nutrition expert on sixpackads.com. And if you've ever seen...
how many goddamn videos of people reporting UFOs do you need? How many goddamn presidents, military officials, CIA officials, motherfuckers gotta go roll from the government to tell you that they're hiding UFO phenomena? Do you need to believe it? So that being said, you know, the question that's being asked, the motherfucker that's asking it needs to start being questioned now. Why the fuck is you still asking this stupid ass question? So that being said, family, this video right here was about extraterrestrial signs and interaction. And this video right here is to give you an understanding, basically, on what it is you could be going through and experiencing in your sleep. So if you're somebody who wakes up with marks on your body, nosebleeds, or you can only remember a certain sequence of your dream, that's because the vibratory states that you have obtained while in delta state are not basically compatible with the vibratory state that you experience while you're in this body. So this is why a lot of us don't remember our dreams. So what you should do is write it down, or if there's somebody that you trust, you should do hypnotic therapy and actually go back into the subconscious chambers of your mind and bring out the memory. But I wouldn't recommend that, because you never know who's a goddamn Mason and who works for the government. And if you go do goddamn hypnotherapy and you pull out some real shit, you might end up dead or goddamn missing. So that being said, family, understand that this world's frequency is being risen, and there's nothing nobody can do about it. You either get with the wave or you don't get with the wave. So I'm going to end this video on this. I'm going to do a live stream lecture. I normally give them in person, but I want as many people to obtain this information as possible. So I'm coming with documentation, testimony, video footage, as well as the complete understanding of the agenda of what is going on between humanity, extraterrestrials, and the middleman who is trying to stop that interaction that we know as the shadow government. So with that being said, family, get ready for that, because I'm not playing no game. Planet Earth is actually damn near 1,000 years behind in spiritual development. So we've been being held back. Even the word school, when you look up the etymology of the word school, it comes from skule, which means to hold back. So institutions are meant to indoctrinate you. So time is going on, but education is not. And that is a problem. Time is going on, but spiritual systems are not upgraded. And that is a problem. So with that being said, family, we believe we're advanced, but we're actually savage. And we must raise our level of awareness. And you do that by becoming sensitive to phenomena. So when you don't sense or you don't start to use your internal self to get a feel for things on this world, you become, let's say, disconnected from any interaction with anything that can only interact with you through that means. So you have beings that are not physical, motherfucker, like your spirit guide. I'm going to do a video on spirit guide. Everybody's born with a spirit guide. Your spirit guide's duty is to make sure that you don't become disconnected from your spiritual self and trapped in this body while experiencing a physical, let's say what they call a life cycle. So a lot of you motherfuckers don't know how to interact with your spirit guide because you become desensitized. All you do is watch violent shit all day, and you think, you know, I'm a man, I'm tough as hell, I'm a female, I'm a strong black woman, I don't feel no emotion. Motherfucker, some beings...
Hello, Pegasus Lifestyle Management, how can I help you?
Through emotion. Emotion is not bad, it's emotion, energy in motion. So with that being said, some beings can only communicate with you through how they feel. If a person was deaf and they couldn't hear you, you would only be able to interact with them through how they
Great.
themselves.
The aircraft is waiting for you at our nearest airfield. We trust you'll be happy, sir.
Do what they feel emotionally. So if they were hurt, they would do something physically to let you know they were hurt. If you was walking up to a deaf person, they were scared, they would do something to let you know they're scared. So they can't say that they're scared, or they can't hear you when you ask them why you're scared, but they can emotionally communicate to you that they're scared, and you can understand that. So now just take that same understanding and apply it to beings that are not physically visible to your naked eye. Because some beings vibrate too goddamn high. Everybody's had that experience where you see something run through the corner of your eye. That's not an accident. That's actually a phenomenon. So with that being said, your eyes can only see certain vibratory states within the spectrum of radiation that they download. Everything is not dense enough for you to see. What the fuck? It's called the spectrum of light. Only African people see the entire spectrum of light, but there's things outside that spectrum that exist that you don't see. So with that being said, family, you have to understand the science of being psychic and how that integrates with psychology, okay, as well as paranormal phenomena. All of those three tie in together. They're like brothers, sisters, and goddamn parents. So with that being said, family, get ready for this lecture. Be on the lookout. I'm composing it now. I'm damn near done with it. It's going to be out real soon. And understand the importance of you.
Adios. Sicario, June 29th.
You and what it is you have to do on this planet. You did not reincarnate on this planet to work at McDonald's for fucking minimum ass, fiat ass wage and a check that don't even have no real value. You reincarnated on this planet to upgrade the consciousness, not just of you, but all beings on this planet. So not only can you become more intelligent naturally, animals can too. But nobody's advancing spiritually or intellectually or mentally because we're all too busy giving value and belief into the fucking matrix which does not fucking exist. So with that being said, it's time to recompute the computer. And with that being said, I love y'all. Peace. Peace, family. This video right here is about extraterrestrial quarantine as well as oneness disconnection. So with that being said, we're going to break down why the planet Earth is being quarantined by extraterrestrials due to our infancy stage of consciousness which is causing us to be no longer aware of the creational and destructional abilities that we have on different spectrums of reality. And not just this world, but other worlds, due to frequency interconnections. Now, with that being said, let's go step by step. Last year on my channel, family, I stated how planet Earth was quarantined and nobody was able to leave the planet Earth. Go research Stephen Greer. He breaks down the same sciences that I stated last year on my channel. So that being said, the reason I'm referencing this is because he has interviewed direct military officials, CIA officials, who confirm everything you're about to hear in this video that I've been saying last year. So some of y'all only believe it if it come out of a white person's mouth. So here's a white person to confirm everything a black person has been saying. And he's been doing this for over 20 years. So that being said, continuing on my video. Now, planet Earth is under quarantine. Nobody is allowed to leave a certain range of space out of the planet. Period. This is why space stations all stop after they get to a certain distance. Because extraterrestrials are quarantining the planet Earth because not only are the blood types, the A and B blood types, antigen is a toxin, foreign stuff introduced to the body which evokes a response to the immune system. Not only are there genetically hybrid people running around this planet, genetically modified foods, not only is there a matrix system created to spiritually enslave and ensnare the natural reincarnational purposes of people who have come to this planet to physically have a humanoid experience, but on top of all of that fuckery, okay, everybody has been disconnected from their original perspective, which is oneness. So with that being said, let's break down what is oneness disconnection, right? You are all, I myself, this camera I'm holding, the wall behind you, the wall behind you is all made up of atoms. Now, why is this important? Atoms are intelligent, okay? They're intelligent. They know. Atoms are the first physiological stage of consciousness. And I do mean physiological. Atoms become cells. Cells become tissues. Tissues become organs. Organs become organ systems. Organ systems become organisms. Do you know how many different types of organisms there are out there? Your DNA is directly hooked up to the cosmos. This is how you get what is called light-coded, light downloads and light codes. Because your DNA is literally hooked up to light. It is the medium. So as I stated before in my other videos, your DNA is like a Rubik's Cube, constantly trying to figure out how to get back into its purest form, which is light. So with that being said, family, all of these organisms out here are made up of different atoms which possess the same void of consciousness that you do. So let me break this down. 90% of an atom is space, 10% of an atom is consciousness. You use 90% of your subconscious, which powers the 10% of your actual conscious self that you use. So even the ability to access certain potentiality of information within your own individual level of consciousness is the same as your anatomical self. So your subconscious mind already has all the answers of not only your own past life, but the same neurological, energetic, let's say, pockets of memory that any other organism has the potentiality of possessing. So that being said, even when you look at martial
that's phony, man.
Martial arts was formed from studying the psychological components of the animal and manifesting it out of oneself. Because you and the animal are one anatomically, but you just manifested yourselves differently. So I gave this analogy before, I'll give it again. If you go to the ocean and you take a red cup, a blue cup, and a white cup, and you scoop water out the ocean with all of them, and you put them on the sand, the only thing that changed was the outside of the cup. The inside of the cup is still water. Same thing with life. The only thing that changes is how you visually see everything else. Inside, we are all the same consciousness. So, are there GMO cups running around? Yes. Are there natural cups? Yes. AKA, are there normal people running around? Are there unnormal people running around? Yes. But at the end of the day, there is all intelligence permeating throughout all life. And once you understand that this intelligence is omnipresent, then you become connected to it. So I'll give you an example. The internet is one mass electromagnetic cyber field. It's not 50 internets. It's one internet. Your different cellular or technological devices compute this one omnipresent frequency. There is only one mind and one field of consciousness. Our different bodies are different computers. Some niggas got apples, some niggas got Daniels. At the end of the day, you are all processing the mind through what is known as your brain, which is a biological computing system. So that being said, the mind, right, is what controls the physical world. Everything is made up of atoms. Atoms react to the mind. Once you go back to seeing yourself as the mind, which is controlling an anatomical vessel to manifest a reality that you wish to experience, then you tap back into oneness. And being righteous, make sure that you manifest a reality that is not just positive for you, but positive for all beings seen and unseen.
Did you know there's a world of miracles inside our bodies?
Are you kidding me?
Now, why is this important? People of this planet have forgotten this and have been untaught this purposely. So now, if you walk outside and you see a tree, the average person doesn't say, this is me manifested in a different form. They say this is a tree. I don't give a fuck about a tree. So they chop it down, build a city. The city is destroying the air. The tree's job was to clean the air. You didn't replace the tree with a goddamn industrial complex that's polluting the air. You killed all the trees that's supposed to clean the air, and now you're just fucking up the environment. You know why? Because you are no longer spiritually and psychologically connected to the environment. So once you understand that you have an anatomical, we're going beyond genetics here. You have an anatomical connection. Black people, we have a melanated connection as well. But you have an anatomical connection to all things that you cannot escape. Then you know what you develop after that? A natural love. If you know that you are the tree, and you and the tree possess the same potentiality to reach into the same ethereal fields of consciousness and pull out the same modules of information because y'all are made from the same module of information, then you develop a natural love and respect for the tree. It's called oneness. It's called spirituality. It's not about being corny. It's not about being overly too goody two shoes. It's about understanding that you were tricked into believing that you are other than each other. Okay? So when you go outside and you see grass, you are grass. Grass is you. Grass is you manifested in a different form of your own self to experience your own self from another perspective. So sometimes to understand yourself as an individual, you go into more of a personalized thought pattern or train of thought to where you temporarily disconnect from other things. But at the end of the day, you should always be able to return mentally to the understanding of oneness. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say it, even though some of your egos are not going to like it. Outside of genetic differences and variations, even Caucasians, even Asians, even these type of people, anatomically, we are the same. Now, genetically and throughout other physiological structures, hell no, we're not the same. We're different people. But you have to remember, these atoms manifested themselves differently. Okay? And in the case of non-African people, we're not constructed by the universe, which constructed the atoms. So when we say a GMO food, yes, a GMO apple and a regular apple are made up of the same atoms. But the manifestation and the reasoning for the existence of the GMO apple was not created by the universe, which created the atoms, which means the GMO apples are not of natural dissension. So this is why we can see so many genetic mutations and variances in the apple, and we can see how the apple is causing so much harm to the people who eat it, that eat the GMO apple. Same thing with humans or humanoid entities. All non-Africans were created genetically modified by extraterrestrials. So even though we are still all anatomically made of the same substance and fabrics, anatomically, as these atoms begin to manifest themselves, we can find unnatural traits and patterns and sequences in the forming of these anatomical compositions, which become chemical elements, which become cells and organs, which become organisms, known as Caucasians and Asians. And we can see why they cause so much destruction to nature, because they weren't made by nature. So let me give y'all the understanding. Nobody and nothing can disassociate themselves from the fabric of anatomical origins. Period. You have matter and antimatter. At the end of the day, they're both forms of matter. Nobody can escape matter. But the form that this matter takes is predicated upon the consciousness of the person who's forming it. So when we bring this back to why the earth is quarantined, is because not only do we not have a natural connection to all things, once again, which causes us to be ignorant and destructional and less loving and compassionate, but we've been tricked to believe that we don't have any power. Meanwhile, we've never stopped using our power. And what is your power? To make the universe react and manifest according to your thoughts. So the thought level and frequency of this planet has become so disgusting and ignorant that an extraterrestrial is not going to let you come to their planet to where you're going to shift their reality. For example, you might go to a planet where there's no such thing as murder. So this actually exists. Planet Earth was like that before. Anybody who studies history will tell you there's African civilizations to where they didn't even know what murder was. And the Europeans came in and got the killing and raping. And now when you go back to them same civilizations and tribes, they more violent than the initial Europeans who arrived because they adapted the consciousness of the entity that came and amplified the motherfucker. So now you might go in Africa and say, why they slaughtering people in the jungle. But if you study how they lived before the Caucasian came and taught them that behavior, you would think you was dealing with Buddhist monks. So that being said, family, understand that you can't express an action until the thought is actually, downloaded into your head. It's a movie that will actually exemplify this understanding. I believe it's called The Giver, where the Council of Elders was telling the youth how to think, and they didn't even know what love was, kissing was, nothing, because those thoughts weren't even allowed into the community. And it wasn't until an older person gave these thoughts to the younger person, where the younger person was able to dispense and disseminate these thoughts out to the community, and they were actually able to express them and evolve as beings. Same thing with planet Earth. You can't exercise or portray an action until you think of it. So coming back to the oneness disconnection, everybody on the planet Earth is egotistically feuding and destroying the planet Earth right now due to them believing that their individual self is greater than the anatomical self of not just themselves, but this planet as well as the things in this universe. And now once we understand that we are interconnected to all things. So for example, if you throw, everything you do affects the world of another creature. So now let me give you an example, or organism, for scientific terms. So the air, the sky, is a world. Just because you don't fucking live up there, that don't mean it's not beings who like to live up there. Birds like to live up there, and other creatures of flight. So if you pollute the goddamn air, you are destroying the world of an entire species. If you chop down the rainforest, just because you don't live in there, that don't mean other things don't live in there. Snakes live in there, tarantulas live in there, tigers, jaguars, all kinds of shit live in the rainforest. And not just one kind. You have different species that live at different levels. So if you chop down a whole fucking rainforest, as we've been doing, you are destroying the world of an organism, aka making things go extinct. Now look at how many motherfucking animals have went extinct on this planet and is on the goddamn endangered species list. You think an extraterrestrial gonna let you come to their shit and do the same shit with your ignorant, stupid ass? Fuck no. If I was up there, I would quarantine you. I would zap your ass. I wouldn't be as nice. I would zap the fuck out you as soon as you came out there. I wouldn't even turn you around. So with that being said, family, you have to understand why this world is not being allowed to evolve. Because the government has instigated institutional factions which hold back consciousness, but they only work if you are a lazy motherfucker who don't want to use your own free will to override and be a better person. So this world is being held back, not forcefully, but willingly by its own self, due to an illogical fear that people have of something that doesn't even exist. So that being said, bringing it back to oneness disconnection, right? When you see something, you develop a greater relationship and a potential evolving.
Hello, Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help you?
To what it is you're dealing with. Everything is just a different manifestation of you, and everything in your life is just a different aspect of yourself that you've attracted. So let me give
Your beautiful new aircraft is waiting at our nearest airfield. We hope you're very happy, sir.
That person is not great. Great is a potentiality of something that you could potentially express. Okay? So technically, everybody's a racist. But do you act on that thought? No. So if you don't act on something, you don't become something. So what it is the people that you hang with are nothing more than reflections of who you are. Everything is interconnected. So what we do is we don't understand that there's ugly parts in all of us that we could accidentally fall victim to, right? So we judge people who have fallen victim to the same potentiality that we could ourselves, and we create a caste system which never allows for healing because we don't see oneness. So I'll give you an example, right? Motherfuckers saying, no, I'm not giving white people an out. Let me get a disclaimer. White people have done some horrible shit on this planet, but we're in 2017 right now, and we're dealing with what is going on now. We are not in the 1920s, and right now, everybody is doing some fucking. So that being said, you might say, white police officers is killing black people. Well, black people is killing black people too. So, at the end of the day, what is racism? Because if you said a white man killed a black man because he was racist, but a black man killed a black man because of the color of his gang, that's actually another form of racism in this ignorant context. So at the end of the day, can a white person be racist? Can a white person be violence? No, you can't be the goddamn. Can you be a color? You can't be red. You can paint that color though and express it, but you can't be it. So that being said, you can't be an emotion. You can't be anger. You can experience anger. You can't be it. So that being said, everybody has the potentiality to be, because we are all interconnected as one anatomically. And the consciousness of an atom sits in the nucleus of that atom. And if you want to get all the way down to the science, the photons in that atom, not protons, photons, actually sit at the 33rd vertebrae of inside of your spine and help permeate this consciousness through you. So that being said, this is why everybody doesn't have what I call a soul, solar connection, melanin, but everybody has a consciousness. Because melanin gives you that solar connection that you download through the soles of your hand, the soles of your feet, and your solar plexus from the cosmos. But if you don't have melanin, you don't have a soul, a solar connection. But everything has a consciousness, which is formulated by photons that sit in the 33rd vertebrae of the spine. So with that being said, once again, this is why masonry goes up to 33 degrees. But coming back to my point, right? What you have to understand is we are judging each other off of characteristics that we hate within ourselves. For example, a bully is not really bullying people because he thinks they're weak. It's something inside of himself that he's insecure about, and so he's expressing it on you to convince himself that he doesn't have this fear. See, you have to study psychology. White people don't oppress black people because they think we're animals and because they think we're savages, right? That's what they want you to think. White people suppress black people because they have a subconscious fear of us being who they know we truly are. Nobody suppresses you because they don't fucking like you. I got a million motherfuckers I don't like, and you know what I do? I stay the fuck away from them. Nobody goes around people that nobody trolls and harasses people that they don't like. They troll and harass people that they love. You don't be around a nigga you don't like. Let's just keep it all the way 100. Europeans see the greatness in African people that we no longer see in ourselves. You know why? Because they took it away from us. They know we built them goddamn pyramids. We just don't motherfucking know that. Well, the majority of black people don't know that. So it's easy for them to create envy around you because they're seeing you in your weakest form when they know you have a greater form. But yet the potentiality of greatness exists in everybody, as so long as you can genetically carry yourself there, or you have the melanin components to carry yourself there. So bringing it back to my point, we are ignorant on this planet of being all interconnected. And we have not learned to accept not only the faults within ourselves, but the things that make us great. And so we have created feuds and egos and fictitious personalities to battle each other, predicated upon potentialities that we all have inside of us. Everybody can jump. Nigga, if you don't have melanin, you can't jump as high as me. That don't mean you can't jump as high as somebody who is genetically equivalent to you can jump. So be the greatest you can be, and let me be the greatest I can be. And we haven't learned to live this way because we haven't learned to see each other as extensions of each other at different levels. So until we understand this interconnection of oneness, once again, the consciousness of this planet Earth is going to continue to be destroyed. So that, it's going to continue to be quarantined. So that being said, we're not saying make excuses for what other people do. What we're saying is take responsibility for what it is we do. Animals live in harmony by living in isolation. Think about that. Animals live in harmony by living in isolation. Motherfucking deers don't live with lions. Lions gotta go out and hunt. So guess what the deers will have to do? If deers knew that they were being hunted by lions, they should intellectually, if they had the capacity, hypothetically speaking, form a module to where they can ward off the lion. So we're not saying don't act like that there are people on this planet Earth who are ignorant and mean us harm. What we're saying is you should form a module that prevents that, as well as take the measures to make sure your environment is suitable for you. So I'm gonna say it again: animals live in harmony by living in isolation. They only live with their species, and the environment that they live in allow them to grow to their full potential. People live in conflict and discord, living together. Why is that? Because you have different species of people, okay, trying to force themselves to be like somebody that they're not. So, on the outside, like, we are only interconnected. We're not the same on the outside. So I'm going to use the blueprint again. Atoms are intelligent, but they take different forms. Atoms become cells, molecules become cells become organs become organ systems become organisms. Do you know how many different organisms there are on this planet alone? Do you know how many different organisms there are just in a lake alone? Do you know how much bacteria is just in a lake? If I spit on the ground, do you know how many different bacteria and life forms are in my spit alone? So that being said, family, you have to understand that we are all interconnected anatomically, and we are all just different variations of the original blueprint of consciousness. So we are all one. All the fingers on the hand. If you got 5 fingers on your hand, right? You don't say my 5 fingers in the face. You say the hand. So all of my fingers are symbolic to different organisms, whether it's black, white, Japanese, alien, extraterrestrial, worms, parasites. All of these are the fingers, right, that make up the hand. All of these are the different organs that came from the original blueprint, which was atoms, which was the hand. And these different organs interact with each other, predicated upon their natural genetic sequenized instructions. So if you're not natural, you're going to interact with other people not naturally. And the universe naturally eradicates people that are not natural due to the lack of melanin. So with that being said, it's not your job to be trying to force your ideology or force somebody else to believe in your frequency. Your job is to ascend and reconnect and create this planet to a more peacefully habitable zone so that we can ascend back into a state we want to be. Now, I'll give you an example, right? When we're talking about spectrum, creational, and destructional awareness, everything is interconnected. So bringing this back to my previous point, right? If you throw oil in the ocean,
boy, you project your finding because you got really nothing to do here.
About the life that you're destroying.
I said, you project your finding nothing to do, you have nothing to do here.
Manifestation of water. Because you're made up of 85% water, and then you're destroying water, which means you're destroying an extension of yourself or a form of yourself that you're not currently in. And water is conscious and it holds memory, and this is a scientific fact. So water actually knows. I got you, dog. The water comes to kill your ass back in the form of what is called a tsunami. So that being said, everything defends